Hi guys, my name is Léla Sophia. I am an artist and fine jewelry designer. If you like contemporary fine jewelry, if you like luxury handbags, all things interiors, then I have some fun videos for you. You guys, a bit of a different video for all of my subscribers today. Honestly, I just have felt so incredibly grateful lately. I mean, I always am, but I feel like lately, especially since becoming monetized here on YouTube, this community, like I know I talk about it all the time, but I just figured I wanted to make a video for all of you guys that's like genuinely explaining, first of all, why I'm here, explaining to you how life-changing this journey, this community has been, and also how much have I made in my first couple months being monetized officially here as a YouTube creator. But first and foremost, if you guys are new here, thank you so much for tuning in. I can't wait to see you in all of my future videos. Make sure that you like this video, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram at Léla Sophia Jewelry. I put up videos every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, and so I can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Okay, so again, truly, I just want to express my gratitude because this journey, it's been a year and 4 months-ish. I started my channel mid-December 2022. And so really 2023 was my first full year here on YouTube. If you're watching this in the future, I'm filming this the very end of March 2024. And when I tell you, I don't know, I'm one of those people, I'm a Virgo, like I'm a planner. I really like to plan, and I also really like to kind of soundboard, to bounce ideas off of people. And I had the idea for this channel like 3 years ago. And it took me a year and a half, 2 years to really start. I was so nervous. I also just think like there's a stigma that I'm trying to kind of break of creators. The creators that I like delved into, again, in the 3 and honestly beyond year mark, Karen Britchick was one of the first people that I just was like, oh my God, you can do this. Like you can show your unique personal style, your personality, your life, everything. Her collecting, especially in those like 3-ish years ago, the last couple years, I was like, oh my God, these are some of my dream bags. I felt like she had such a unique style also, which I really resonated with. Of course, there are creators who I also really love, but just like, you know, at a certain point, we've all seen it, which I think is really starting to change, which I'm hoping to be in the group of changers on, which sounds crazy and again is kind of mind-blowing, but for a while, it was like every creator was unboxing the same bag at the same time. There's always a knit bag, there's always a new cool bag, and everybody had very similar collections. I've never quite been like that. I've always had like a very unique style. Sometimes I feel really full and I don't collect for a while. Sometimes I go on a total collecting bender, as we've seen. I've also had different iterations of my collecting, which we'll get into in a second, but because I have a fine jewelry background, I've worked in the fine jewelry industry here in New York City for the last 11 years, which is really crazy to think about. I've worked in many different iterations, all in fine jewelry. I've gone on to own my own brick and mortar store in Soho, New York. And through that, then I started my own brand, Léla Sophia Jewelry, 4 years ago, like this month actually, which I'm just realizing, which is really crazy. I made my first piece, yeah, 4 years ago. Literally, I hand make everything by myself in my home. I'm a very like small, literally I have no team. I was almost gonna say I have a small team. No, the team is me. I do every single thing myself, and it is a joy and a pleasure. And prior to me starting my own line, I was a fine jewelry collector. Like that's what I did. That's what really brought me so much joy. And then when I started my own brand, I really just collect all of my own pieces, which sounds crazy, but like baby Sophia would be really proud. Not even baby Sophia, like teenage Sophia, in my early 20s Sophia would be so excited. And so I'm saying it hopefully because if you have something that you want to do, literally you can do it. I promise you. Obviously everyone lives in a different circumstance, but if there is something that your heart is truly desiring, I'm kind of a believer in that, like your future self already has it. So that's why you want it so badly. And I feel that way so much with my own line. And so I kind of like, I was a little lost in my collecting for a year or two, and then I'd always loved luxury handbags, and I'd always loved buying them pre-loved. I talk about this all the time on my channel, but literally like for my college graduation, I was 21, I graduated a little early, so I was 21, I was a baby here in New York City, and it was like, you know, it was 2014, it was the cool like Kim Kardashian era, Riccardo Tisci for Givenchy. that is really the brand that got me into collecting first. Riccardo Tisci for Givenchy. I probably had like 6 bags at one point of that era. Still have a couple, and literally when I graduated, I was like, okay, I can't afford to buy this bag new, but my dream bag was the mini Pandora bag. And I bought it on eBay. Like, I was like, hello, more people need to know about this. And clearly, you know, it's been 9 years since that and nothing's changed. I've only gotten more into pre-loved collecting and vintage collecting. And so, yeah, I feel like showing that the pre-loved market can not only be sustainable, it can be cyclical, it can make fashion more cyclical in general, but also make your own collecting in your own closet more cyclical, meaning if there's something that I purchased pre-loved and I love it, but it didn't really work out, or the shoulder strap was too short, it doesn't fit me correctly, buying it pre-loved means that not all the time, but sometimes, and honestly a lot of times, if you really follow where the pricings are going up and going down, again, YouTube here is an amazing resource for that. You can really either get your money back by selling it and getting something that you actually really want. I've made money a lot of times, or you can get close to what you paid for it to reinvest that in something else. The pre-loved market, I think, is one major reason why I started my channel, so that I could show that collecting doesn't have to be just like, I'm spending 10 grand every month on a new gorgeous bag, which, hey, listen, if you can do that, that's freaking amazing. I am envious of you. Hopefully one day I can get to that level in my life, but she's not there yet, okay? I'm definitely, that's a story for another day, but I'm clearly investing in my home. I invested in a home this year. I'm investing in my business still. And that's not me, but if I want to spend $1,000, let's say, a month or every other month on a bag, going pre-loved really helps me look in my own closet, know if I can kind of recycle something out and get something new for a very similar value. I can do that, and those bags often, like a bag that I'm going to be unboxing very, very soon in the next couple days on my channel. The bag that I just purchased for literally $1,300 retailed for $4,000. And that is so consistent with so many pieces in my own collection. So many of them go for thousands of dollars that I end up getting for $1,000 or less because of the pre-loved market, showing that luxury can actually be attainable and not some like put on a pedestal thing, that you can actually wear your pieces, because especially because you're getting them for such incredible deals from someone who no longer wants it or wants to do the same thing and get something else in their closet. It's a beautiful way, and I want to show that people like me, people in all different scenarios in life, beautiful things are incredible, and they shouldn't be so taboo, and they shouldn't be so hierarchical. Like, it doesn't have to be some crazy status symbol. It can just be collecting something beautiful because that means something to you. And to go more quickly on these next 2 points, literally, I remember bringing this to an incredible, who I was working with at the time, an incredible kind of marketing PR agency for my fine jewelry line in my first couple years of creating my line. And one of the owners, who I still love so much today, literally I was talking to her, and I went into the office and I said, I watch all these incredible creators. I kind of stopped myself. I also really love Cassie Thorpe, is, as I say, the reason why I started my channel. The way that she's so personable, the way that she's literally, like, I feel like, I'm sure everybody feels like we're her friends. Like, there's something so incredible about the way that she's able to create, just, it could be a 10-minute long video and you feel like you just had coffee with her. Like, there's something informative yet playful and so true to herself that I love so much, that made me look at myself and say, okay, maybe I could find a similar community through a channel of my own, which, even though we're very different, quite frankly, like, that personability, that the way that she's able to jump off of the screen, that touched me so, and it sounds so silly, but like, truly, that really impacted my life in a lot of ways. Where, to get back to my original story, I literally remember being like, there are all these incredible creators who I consume content on a multiple days a week, to, let me use correct English. Literally, there are so many people who I'm watching their videos every single time that they drop a video. And even though Cassie Thorpe is actually the exception, she talks a lot about fine jewelry. I was like, when I Google my favorite fine jewelry designers, especially at the time, there was nothing. The only fine jewelry content I could find on YouTube was Cartier, Van Cleef, Tiffany, a little bit of Hermes jewelry, but barely even that. Literally Cartier, Van Cleef and Tiffany. And there is kind of like a gray area of marketability on the creator platform for costume jewelry brands, or there's a little bit, anyways, I won't get too deep into like all the nitty-gritty details in the fine jewelry industry, but there are those kind of demi-fine brands where, you know, they might either use lab-grown diamonds or it's just very, very delicate, like smaller amounts of gold. There was some of that where there's either plated jewelry brands, demi-fine jewelry brands, semi-fine jewelry brands being shown a little bit, but kind of even barely that. And I was like, at the time, I had worked in the industry already for 8-9 years, and I was like, how is it possible that in person I'd had all these interactions, especially at my own business when I had an in-person store? I'm telling clients about this incredible designer for the first time, or like I find a really niche cool collector who's finally like able to find a brand that I represented in person. Like where's that? You know what I mean? Like where is that on this channel? There are hundreds of incredible contemporary fine jewelry designers for any gender out there, and I was shocked by the lack of visibility on YouTube that they all had. The fine jewelry industry is quite tight in general. It's a very, very, very niche world, to put it lightly, to be honest. It's very niche. It's really compact, let's say. There's not a whole lot of ins and outs. You really have to kind of like solidify and stamp your way in the industry to be able to be seen, to be shown. And yet, especially with all like the way that I've gone so niche in my own collecting and my own appreciation for my fellow contemporary fine jewelry designers, it's like those niche designers I was about to say are sometimes better than the bigger houses, but I'll say are just as good as, sometimes, not all the time, but the ones that I try to talk about, like the quality, the level of impeccable, not only design, often pieces that are literally handmade or one-of-ones, or pieces that are so incredibly like meticulously designed that these brands deserve to be in the same exact conversation as Tiffany, Van Cleef, Cartier, and Hermes. Like that's not just my opinion, that's really truly how I feel, which I guess is my opinion, but you guys know what I mean. So bringing in contemporary fine jewelry, not just with my own brand, which I hopefully don't talk about all the time or don't do like extensive videos on, but bringing in my own kind of background of fine jewelry onto this channel for the first time, I think was a major, major, major catalyst in me wanting to really share on this channel. Other 2 points, which are much more personal to myself: I am a mixed race woman. I'm half Moroccan. My mom is Irish American. You know, I grew up in like very, let's say, unique kind of circumstances. I didn't grow up with any of my family in Morocco, but they all live there. My entire massive family all lives there, including my own father and my siblings. But I grew up here kind of as the unique kid in my mother's family here in America. I grew up kind of in between Connecticut, Westchester, and New York City, and I've never, I'm sure places like London, places like obviously Paris, and a lot of other, you know, countries or cities that have more of a Moroccan diaspora, like there are more people alike to that, but I did not know one other person who was Moroccan growing up. I'm like, do I even know any now? Like, I have not seen any representation of Moroccan women, of Moroccan people in general, but especially of Moroccan women enough at all. And there's like, since even starting my channel, I found a few more, but I always felt so othered. I always felt so alien. You know, it's that thing of being a mixed race kid where you're not, you know, not enough of either side of you, and so it just feels confusing and like you don't fit in. And so I think I wanted to experience that. All the creators who I've found, like Nori Anna is another one, and Cassie Thorpe, Je suis Lou, all these incredible, very unique women, I feel like they would talk about their own experience of either being different or being othered or being unique, not necessarily because of their race, but because of some aspect about them or something that they liked or something that they were into. I related so much to that, and I was like, you know what? If I felt so alone, so othered my entire life, maybe there is another person who's felt the same way. Very similarly to my race, again, I grew up with my mother's side of my family. I have I'm the spitting image of my father. I'm the spitting image of my father. I look exactly like my dad's family, who I've only met a few times in my life, and I've barely even met all of my family members. But because I was raised here in New York, when I tell you, the very first time when I was almost 20 years old, going to Morocco for the first time, meeting my family members, especially the women in my family, I was like, I'm not a crazy person for being a larger, very curvy, fat woman, whatever you want to call me. I felt so confused because all of a sudden I'd gone the first 20 years of my life having nobody in my life who looked like me, who had a similar shared experience as me. And then all of a sudden I see 8 women who look exactly like me and strangers who look exactly like me in Marrakesh, in Essaouira, in any city that I went to in Morocco. And I was like, oh my goodness, why has there been no representation of different body types? And it's just so taboo, especially in Western cultures, obviously in America and Europe, you know, like being a fat girl like I am is just not the vibe. And it's changing a little bit, but like kind of not even really. There are more of us kind of trickling in, but that was one of my major kind of points of being on this channel, especially being from New York, you know what I mean? I think there is such kind of this, like, it's crazy to say this, but the fact that body sizes and shapes actually do kind of trend and have moments is a wild thing that I'll never be able to wrap my head around fully. But the fact that I live in a city where fatness is not exactly an okay thing, I wanted to try to, even if I'm not breaking, you know, breaking the glass ceiling, but like, I wanted to see if, because I'm someone who's worked in the luxury industry, even if it's on the fine jewelry side, I've still worked in this industry for a lot of years, for 11 years in total, and I've always felt so wrong that there must be somebody else like me. There must be somebody else who's like, oh my God, either working in this industry or loves this industry or wants to collect within this industry. I can't go to a fashion show and get dressed by a designer because nobody will have my size, okay? I want to change that, and slowly there are some of us who are. But I even just thought that starting, you know, starting, existing, showing myself, being as real as possible, that was the very inception point. And hopefully slowly, you know what I mean? Slowly more people will be like, oh, hello, this person's exactly like me, or I relate, or I feel so similarly. Getting messages like that and getting comments like that, who I've had, you guys know who you are, my subscribers who have come to me very honestly and openly and talked about their own experiences being so othered or feeling so different in this luxury industry, but still wanting to exist here. You have no idea how meaningful it has been to me. And so as soon as that happened, I was like, okay, this is really real. This can really change. And if it's just like change a little tiny like speck of an area within the YouTube content creator world, I want to be here for that. Very similarly, another point on why it's so funny, because if you know me in person, I'm not really a sharer, but if I feel safe enough to talk, which I guess I apparently have grown to feel safe talking here with you guys, like I really am able to kind of, I'm a lotus flower, you know what I mean? Open up and share a lot. And a major part of my life is my own brand, Léla Sophia Jewelry, which again, I talked about, I started 4 years ago. And now that you guys know a little bit more of my background, just personally, my jewelry line is the most personal thing I've ever done in my life. I started out as a musician. I'm literally like, I was thinking about this, that I just turned 30, so I'm exactly halfway through my 30th year on this earth. If you knew me, or if you've known me for anywhere past the last 5 years, I was the singer. Like, I was a very serious, like very intentional, intense musician. I went to music college. I went to the New School for Jazz and Contemporary Music. I studied jazz. I studied classical music. I literally have done, like, music was my end all be all my entire life. And something so interesting happened while I was in college. I also had this other love of luxury, primarily jewelry. You guys know, who know my channel, my aunt Susan, who passed away 7.5 years ago, or almost 7.5 years ago, which is mind-boggling to me. My mom's sister, literally my second parent in this life. I'm so blessed to have had her for 23 years. My aunt taught me everything I know, literally my style, everything. Her DNA is me. I am like everything from how I do my nails to how I dress. Everything is from her. I'm so blessed that I had her in my life. And when I was very young, I've always been a larger kid. I just always was. That's how I was labeled. That's how I was seen. That's how I was really kind of the box that I was put into. And she saw that from such an early age. Like, it's crazy to me, probably when I was 8 or 9. And I remember when I was 10, she started collecting jewelry for me. Every birthday or Christmas, she started gifting me jewelry and was like, this can be your lane. Jewelry does not have a size. And so this is how you can show yourself, show your style, find the clothes that fit you, find something that goes into your style. That took me, you know, a lot more years to find, honestly, but what she taught me was that accessories on top, clearly, hello, I'm a handbag collector, accessories, handbags, shoes, fine jewelry. I'm not a hats girl, but that's really cool too. I'm sure there are other, you know, sunglasses is another one that I've recently really gotten into. Accessories can be the way that you show your style. Accessories can be the aspect of your outfit that you resonate with. And because of that, when I was a teenager, I started working in the fine jewelry industry, and she taught me the real, like, I totally respect that so many people think that luxury is very frivolous and like totally pointless, but she taught me from a very early age the longevity of luxury, especially the luxury brands that you love so much. And so I started working in this industry. I was like, I love music. I want to be writing. I want to be singing. I want to be performing. But I also really love luxury. And from like probably from like 16 years old, I thought, I want to own a gallery one day. I want to be a performing musician, and I want to have a line of fine jewelry. That was my life goal. Like, those were my life goals. Of course, one day I hope to be blessed enough to have my own family and partner and children. That is kind of a separate category, but in you know, the career-wise section of things, I wanted so badly to have my own line of fine jewelry, to be this cool poppin' performing musician, and also to work within the arts. I also, you know, in addition to music, I did painting and sculpting, and so I've really studied art for a really long time. I used to teach art in college, fun fact. And so it just was such a crazy kind of like left turn. All my friends were probably like, what is she doing? But because of how much in-depth background, like really truly behind the scenes knowledge I got in the fine jewelry industry, I knew that I wanted to start my own line. And when I was 20, what I just said, when I had my experience going to meet my family for the first time, I was so inspired and also awestruck by the lack of knowledge that I had about my own blood family members. My grandmother had these beautiful, very faded kind of blue-gray tattoos on her face. And I, for the last 11 years, have just completely dived into understanding my family, my background, where I come from. And my very first 2 collections were completely inspired by Amazi facial tattoos, especially done on women. I wanted to honor my grandmother. My middle name is my grandmother's name. I'm named after her, Léla Sophia Tamu. Her name was Tamu, which I love so much. There's something very, I don't know, something kind of primal about being connected with your grandmother. And so my entire line, every single piece that I make myself with my own hands, it's like a very, very, very basic, almost primitive process I want to put my own DNA into, and having this platform is like, I knew that I was going to merge my own line in with my own channel, but like the fact that I have gained some of you guys as clients, kind of fellow lovers of fine jewelry, but that love my own line, has been probably the most mind-blowing part of this. I never want to like expose any of my clients, but the fact that I have found some incredible clients who I hope you guys know how much I love you. I hope in my, you know, very gushy emails to you guys, you understand that. But when people started collecting from my line because of my YouTube channel, I was like, this is mind-blowing. I feel so blessed. I was gonna say I feel unworthy, but I'm trying to work on that. I just feel so incredibly blessed to have this platform to connect with all of you guys. And whether, you know, it's fine jewelry, I make fine jewelry, I totally understand that my price point might not be the highest. It's definitely not the highest in my industry, especially amongst all the designers that I talk about, but it is fine jewelry. It's a very high price point, you know. I'm fully aware of that. And so it doesn't have to be collecting a piece of mine. Just following, just listening is like mind-boggling to me. And so that has been also like, that was one of the main reasons why I started my channel, was to be able to connect with other lovers of fine jewelry, other lovers of storytelling. I feel like that's a very, you know, deeply ingrained part of my own business, but actually having it happen in real life, actually finding collectors, actually connecting with clients, actually having you own and purchase my pieces is like, I don't know if I'll ever really understand, like, I don't know if I'll ever really have that fully sink into me how incredible that is, but it is an honor and a blessing, and I'm just so grateful for all of you. And two, you guys, if anybody actually sat through that entire very lengthy explanation, I love you. I literally love you, and you are my friend and family now, because I know that was a lot, and I know that a lot of you guys probably came just for this last section of this video, so if you skipped over that, I will not judge you at all. It is more than understandable. I think I'm also making this video to kind of like really encourage people, or just show like the real behind the scenes of what it is like to be a creator, how much money you can make, how much money you start off by making. Clearly, I'm not on the how much money you can make side of things yet. I certainly hope to be there at some point soon, but especially because I have a couple friends who I love you guys so much, friends who are starting their own channels. I feel like maybe I just didn't do research well enough, but especially in the luxury community, I haven't seen that many videos talking about how much you actually make on YouTube your first couple months being monetized, how long it takes to get monetized, and even how much work goes into creating videos. You guys, I started off pretty, you know, intensively, let's say. Again, I think there is just, there's something knowing about your own self. I am I don't know if solitary is the right word, but I'm a very independent human being, first of all. Obviously, I have my own business. I run everything myself. And so clearly there's a level of control that I, you know, should maybe work on in my life, but I love to have control over what I'm doing. And so I think a lot of things aligned with me having my own channel, recording yourself, editing yourself, planning all of your videos, I put so much research every single video into whatever category I'm going to be talking about that day or subject I'm going to be talking about that day. There's a lot of time that goes into it, but it was time that I knew I loved. Literally, I think my very first video, or one of my first videos on YouTube, is a live performance. If you scroll all the way down, and I did that live performance about 8 months, literally, I think 8 or 9 months before I started my channel. I had one of my friends who I love, thank you, Javon, one of my amazing friends, kind of audio engineer the performance. And I said, I promise you, I'll edit everything. Don't worry. I edited all the videos and synced all the audio and whatnot, all of myself. And while I was doing that, I was like, okay, I love this. I love this. I love sitting down. I love that time to myself. I love editing videos. I don't know why. I think above all, especially from me having my own store, I'm a curator. I really am very curatorial, even if it's, I mean, look at my background behind me. There's a little bit of control issues here. I really love to curate an experience. And so creating a visual mood board, also I'm very visual. I have dyslexia. And so I'm not a reader. I'm also like, even though I'm a musician, I prefer to watch. I'm very visual. So like I can't listen to podcasts. I watch podcasts and I watch YouTube videos. I'm also not really like a series or movie person. So YouTube has literally become my TV. And especially as soon as all those creators who I talked about kind of at the beginning, especially as soon as I found all of these incredible creators I started watching who had started this career, and like almost you can see people finding themselves more through a YouTube channel. I was like, there's something here. And the fact that I love to edit, the fact that I spend so much time kind of curating my process myself, I knew that this was a good, at least not good, but a very aligned career move for me. And it also really aligns what I think, what I want to do in my life. I know myself, and I know that having my own business, having my own space to do something, having my own time to do my own work. I'm a very intensive worker. I'm not even gonna say hard worker because everybody is a hard worker. I work intensively. And so no matter what job I've ever had in my entire life, whether it be literally a gig, from any range, every single position I've ever had in my life, I do it intensively. I put my heart and my soul into it. And so this just it actually felt very calm to kind of find something where I felt like I can be myself. I can even grow myself. I feel like I can have an evolution. I also love seeing creators' evolution. Tamara is an amazing example of that, who is another one of my favorite creators. I think I've hit mostly all my favorite creators in my kind of explanation, but Tamara has had like a literal evolution. And she talks about it all the time. And it's not necessarily like her style has changed that much or whatever, but it's just like you're watching someone find themselves even more. And if you know me, especially if you've known me for a while, that is like my thesis statement in life. Like finding yourself, I felt like I can really do this on my channel. And so I put so much effort into every single video, even if it's just a 10-minute, 15-minute video, it takes hours of not just research before, that's kind of the easiest part. Of course, filming takes a while, setting everything up, but then the editing and the adding in the content, because I'm so visual, that's how I see things. And so I really want to create these kind of literal mood boards where I'm on Pinterest a lot of the day. I love looking for pre-loved bags, but I also just love looking for like mood board cool inspo pics for my home, not just for outfits, but really for kind of every single category in my life. And I was like, I love watching videos like this, so why don't I create my own? I don't know if anybody's gonna care about it, but for me, I love creating them. And so there's some magic in that. And I think that's the first thing that you need to know if you want to start your own channel, or if you're interested. I pour a lot into my channel, but because I feel like it feeds me so much, that is, I know I already said this, I'm a gushy person a little bit, but that has been the craziest, most amazing, like literally most amazing aspect that I have not just like fed into, but also gotten fed by you guys, by everybody here. I hope you know that. And I hope I say that enough, but like just to have a gushy moment, it's mind-blowing to me because I think I've heard a lot of other creators talk about this, but I have always struggled to fit in, as I've clearly said, but I've always just struggled to find my people. This is not just an after college thing, because I know after college, right, it's like you don't really have like adult activities. You can find them, but it's very hard to find adult activities. After college especially, it's been very difficult to find my people, but this has been a lifelong thing. I'm always a very individualistic, unique human being that never fit into the area in which I was raised, or just the, scenario that I was in at that moment. I'm never really a person who's fit in places, and the fact that I could, I almost just started to cry. We're not having that moment here. Not that I don't love you guys so much, but just like, this is a serious business video, a very personal video also. So I just have to say this, the fact that I've like literally found people, you know who you are, who I talk to now every single day, who I have like genuine connections with, who care about the same things, can text, I can DM, I can whatnot, I can speak to you just in my comments. Whatever it is, having people who care about the same things, see the value in the same things, see the evolution in the same things that I do, has been mind-blowing to me. And so for me, other than, some future monetary goal that I have with my channel, this has been the most surprising part. The fact that I've been able to connect not just my own brand, my person, myself, with other people who are so similar. It's like mind-blowing. There are some of you guys, you know who you are. Again, not to like totally avoid any of your personal details, but like literally some of you guys will be like, oh my gosh, I just collected this bag too, or I just got this too, or I got this bag 5 years ago. Like niche, random, archival bags that people don't really know about. Like the fact that we like the same things, the fact that we care about the same things, the fact that we don't care what other people think about things that we love, the fact that we see the value in these little beautiful things that we fill our lives with, or just even that community, that connection has been the craziest, most amazing aspect to me. And I really feel like in my personal, in my in-person life, I'll say this is my personal life, but in my in-person life, I feel so much fuller. Like there's something in me that and I don't know if I've ever said this before, but I really do feel so full. I feel so grateful. And yes, I hope to grow my channel monetarily to be able to really invest back into my business, invest into my home, or invest into other businesses or other endeavors. There are creators who are making thousands of dollars a month. I mean, that would be an incredible goal for me. I'm certainly not there yet, but the most surprising aspect, because I went a year and 4 months without making anything, but prior to being monetized, it took me exactly, I think a year and 2 months to become monetized, a year and 4 months to actually get my first check here on YouTube. all of that time was just me pouring into future me and community, building this community. And so that's, I think, the most important part. If you're interested in doing this, or even if you're just interested in this topic, you don't have to be personally interested in starting a YouTube channel, but something like that was the most surprising part to me, because I knew I could connect with more people, but I didn't know quite how deeply. I didn't understand that these could be like new friends, you know what I mean? And now that I see the creator world more, I'm like, oh, they're best friends or other creators that they made through an event or something, through the creator world. It makes so much sense because we're probably like-minded. Like, there's so many things, aspects about what I share here that like it is opened myself up in such a different way when I'm really not. I know it's surprising because I've been yammering on for a very long time. I'm not very good at sharing about myself in person, but when given the time, when I feel safe, I can really kind of pour out my deepest aspects of myself. And so that has been the most beautiful aspect that was completely a surprise here on YouTube, because again, it's taken me, I started my channel December, I think like the first week of December 2022. I just got my first check this literal week from YouTube. It takes like, there's like a little bit of a buffering area. I have my payment, you can have like a little threshold on Google AdSense where you have to meet a minimum payment, and I have mine at $100, a humble $100. And so as soon as I made that, it took me about a month and a half to make $100 on my YouTube channel. I literally told my mom, I was like, I made $100. Like, this is incredible to me. And then it kind of gets past the threshold. I don't know. There's other creators can explain this better, but you have a threshold that you meet, and then it gets kind of deposited into your Google AdSense. But that takes a few weeks in itself. And so I can't even believe this, but literally my very first check that I just got via Google AdSense was for $144.68, which seems insanely nothing, but to me, I'm like, oh my goodness, the way that I've seen creators grow, it seems like, and what I've experienced myself, growth on YouTube is exponential. It really is not just about getting a subscriber count, it's really about, again, gaining that community, and me feeling that for the first time the last 9-10 months, especially a couple months after kind of finding my footing, finding my voice here. It's mind-blowing. And I know that it sounds like such a low amount, but the fact that I've been able to grow a community, I don't know, like I feel safer. It sounds really crazy, but I feel like I've found something that I really love to do, something that will hopefully grow with me, that I know will grow financially. Getting your first actual payment, even if it's less than $200, is kind of incredible. And I'm at a very steady rate of growth, subscriber count both, but also watch times. There are so many analytics that I can go into more depth in another video, but there's so many aspects that I've just like seeing that growth. I'm also the type of person that really enjoys actually seeing growth, whether it's moving or kind of moving on in a different area of your life. Seeing growth from the amount of people who actually care enough to subscribe to me on YouTube, to actually like pour into this on YouTube and comment, and like the amount of you guys, like I can't even say this enough, the amount of you guys who watch every single video, who comment every single time when we have actual conversations, again, will never not blow my mind. And so actually like turning this into a business is kind of mind-blowing. Even if it's a small amount, somebody might be shocked by the number I said, either in a good way or a bad way, but to me, it's kind of incredibly mind-blowing. And so I just could not be more grateful to you guys to kind of round up this very long-winded video. I love you guys. I can't wait to see where we're at in another year. It's an honor. It's an honor to create, and it's an honor to know you all. I love you all so much. Let me know any thoughts down below, any questions down below. Do you want me to go more in depth with the time it took, with my growth rate, with what I'm projecting in the future? I'd love to hear any of your thoughts. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in my next one. Bye guys.